Hello, my name is Gabriel from GabakUSA. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this, so that way if you want to put computer parts or maybe something like Star Wars or something like that, you can do it yourself. So I'm going to show you step by step. So this was made with LED lights. I'm going to show you how to turn it on and off with the remote control. Also how to dim the lights, so that way if you want like more light, more brightness or less, you can do it as well. So this is how it works. This is the prototype. So later on we are going to do the same thing in this kind of shop. So the customer asked me to do all those kind of things, so I put it all together. And now I'm soldering, so I'm going to show you how to do all those things, so that way if you want to do it yourself, you can do it. So the champagne, I'll show you how to start step by step soldering and doing every contact. Now I'm going to show you everything that you need to know before buying anything. So I'm going to show you everything I'm going to use in this project. I hope you like it. If you're outside of United States and you want me to send you a few things, you can contact me. All the information is in the video description. Otherwise, I'll leave you all the links, so that way you can buy yourself from Amazon. So I'm going to show you first the first thing. It will be the LED lights. For instance, you have different options. So if you want to buy, for instance, this type of LED light, as you can see, it comes with the remote control and it comes with the sensor, but it's infrared. So it means that if you are not aiming to the sensor, you're not going to be able to turn it on and off or change the colors and all the things. So that is a bummer. I don't like that. But if you want to just to turn it on and off, I recommend you to use the wireless option. As you can see here, they work pretty well. They are not perfect. Most of them are knockoff or some Chinese version, but just make sure that whatever you want to use, it has a lot of stars, and usually they work pretty good. I mean, I bought a few of them and they are decent, not perfect, decent. So here, for instance, I'm going to show you in case if you have to connect many things. So here you have the power, the power brick, and you have a splitter. This usually you use it for video surveillance. So if you want to use this will be one option. Like I mentioned before, here you have many options. So you have one is one of type of LED that they have multiple colors and multiple pins. As you can see here, you have 4 pins. So if you're going to stay with 4 pins, use 4 pins for everything. Also the width. So if you're going to use 8 millimeters, or if you're going to use 10 millimeters, whatever you use, just buy everything in one size and you're not going to have any issues. So basically that is how you're going to that is how you're going to connect everything, and that is what you have to keep in mind in order to avoid any mistake. The thing I don't like about this type of strip light is that the color, let's say that you like maybe white, and then the white is not white, is mixed with another color. So if you want something that is going to be 100% white, buy the white, and that's it. And if you want red, maybe buy the red one, and that's it. So as you can see here, we have just 2 pins, as you can see here. So that is very important, and make sure that is 8 millimeters. That is at least what I'm using in this video. So I hope it will help you, so that way you're not going to make any mistake. As you can see here, it says 8 millimeters, 2 pins. That is very important. That is what I'm using. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you have a question, maybe in the product that you're looking at, it doesn't say anything, go where it says answer question, and then answer, I mean, just say, hey, is this 8mm. In this case, yes, it's 8mm. Everyone says it. Besides, in the title, it is. But you can do the same thing with another products. So this is what you're going to use, as you can see. If you want to connect everything to power it up, that will be one option. And here you have the different pictures, so that is how you are going to connect the strips with the cables. And basically, I mean, it's pretty simple. As you can see here, I'm going to give you a few advice later. Later, if you want to connect it maybe later like that with this type of connector, you can do the same thing. So here you have many options. So here you have the L or the corners, so that way you can connect everything, as you can see here in the angles for this project. And if you want to use the other thing, you can use this connector. So basically, that is what you have to keep in mind. If you want to turn them on and off via Alexa or something like that, here you have an option. It's more expensive. The good thing is you can do it via internet, or if you want the basic one, you can use this one. I think I've been using these. Usually they work pretty well. Like I mentioned before, maybe they are not perfect. I would like to try maybe in the future the IP version, but that is how it works. So I'm going to show you now how you can start your project and how to solder and everything else. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some advice so you can sell these kind of products to your customers. As you can see, he wishes us remove the glass. What we have to do is mark some, trace some lines. As you can see here, you can use any Sharpie. So in this case, I took a measurement like a half of an inch or about 15 millimeters, whatever you want to use. And I did the same thing here and here. So we're going to use these kind of strips, as you can see here. So in this case, we're going to use this brand. If you want, I can leave you in the video description. So if you want to buy them and do it yourself, or if you want me to help you with your project, I can do that for you as well. So this, I like it a lot because it comes with the dimmer, as you can see here. So you can turn the brightness up or down, so that is cool. Here we have the power brick, and it comes with this. So the power brick you can buy it separately, but in this case it comes, like I mentioned before, this and this, and that's it. So we have a 10 millimeters and 8 millimeters. So in this case I'm using 8 millimeters. I like it the best. Is the footprint is smaller, and it has two contacts, because you're going to find that some of these units, they have like this kind of strip lights. It has 4 pins, so with 2 is more than enough. The other one that you may find with 4, I have one here, as you can see. So usually they are, if you want like different kind of colors or something like that. So in this case, it's going to be all white. It's better, because if you use this that is multiple colors and you want to make it white, usually it doesn't look that great. The white is not that white. And you have this kind that is waterproof. In this case, we're not going to use waterproof because, you know, it's going to be indoor, that's it. And we have this kind of contacts. Also, you have this kind of splitters, so for the power, but this is for the other kind. So in this case, we need just this type of connectors. I'm going to show you the other type of a splitter that works for this. And if you want, you have this type of controllers in case if you want to turn it on and off. This is IR, so it's infrared. I don't recommend this because you have to aim it to this place, otherwise it will not work. What I recommend is to use the RF, so it's radio frequency, and it works much better. So I'm going to show you the remote control. Okay, here I'm going to show you this is the splitter that I was in. For instance, you plug this thing here, as you can see. I just unplug it, so you plug it back in. I need both hands to do it properly, but that way you see it. So here the female, and here it will come all the other ones. I just use both hands to do this, and with this you can see I can dim the light or more lights with this. So this is the main thing that you're going to need. Now I'm going to show you how that works. For instance, you can, with the remote control, with the RF, like I mentioned before, I can turn it on and off. There we go, you see, even if I aim to some other place, it will work just fine. And that is the device that you have to buy. So I'm going to leave everything in the video description, or if you find something else like another connector, you can use this. I don't recommend this. I prefer this kind of thing like I mentioned before. For instance, here I have the splitter is one input, two outputs. The other is better because you have more outputs. So once you have that, you're going to need these kind of connectors, so that way we can solder it this way. I'm going to show you in a little bit. As you can see here, we have another type of connector. This is for 8mm, and you have here for 10mm. So I don't want you to get confused, so make sure that you get everything in 8mm. This is the other remote control that I was telling you before. It's the same thing like this one I was showing you. So this is for this. So this is what I recommend. This is the RF, and this is to change the colors and everything else if you use the other kind of LED, the light. But I don't recommend that because the white is not white, so it's kind of gray or bluish or something like that. So the bad thing with this kind of remote control, you have to aim the infrared, as you can see, to this end that you have here in order to make it work. Otherwise it will not work. You have the simple remote control. So this is the same thing that I was mentioning before. For instance, with this you have to aim it here, and you have the timer. So that is a good thing. I mean, about this is you have less devices around. So, but the only drawback is that you need the aiming to this receptor in order to make it work. And with this is like this device all together. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to unplug it, so that way it will be maybe a little bit less confusing if this is your first time. So this device, this, you can turn it on and off like I mentioned before here, and you can change the brightness. So that is good if you wanted to make a blink and other things. So this is the tool for you. Or if you want the other thing that is RF, like I mentioned before, you're going to have this, but you have to do it manually in order to change the brightness. You cannot make it blink or anything like that, and you will have this device. So this, you have to buy two devices. Here it's just one. So now I'm going to show you how to start soldering and put everything together, so that way you can start your project. So if you're thinking, okay, how do I start? I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to show you step by step. So first of all, like I mentioned before, we will have to draw the line. It depends how far you want it from the border. So in this case, you can take the measurement. Here it will be almost 5/8. So that is the distance, or like 15 or 16 millimeters. So it is up to you. So once you have decided that, you use the Sharpie, like I mentioned before, and then you draw all the lines here, here. So once you have done that, as you can see, we have to put the strip light. So in this case, we are going to peel off this, and we are going to put it like that. So as you can see, so once we have done that, we are going to stop it here, and because we are going to use this angle. So as you can see here, the angle that is why it's shorter in this side, so you have to keep that in mind. So when you have something like that at this corner, we are going to remove this. I'll show you why. And at least with this type of adapter, if you put it like this, you will see that if it fits fine, you should not have any issue. But when you want to close it, at least with this kind of adapter, you will see that you have an LED here on your way, so you're not going to be able to do that. At least with these kind of things, what I do, it was working fine. It's just cutting that little piece, and that's it. So once you do that, you will be able to put it. And what we are going to do is, because we don't have this, we're going to solder it, so that way the connection will be firm. So in this case, we have the plus sign, or the positive sign, in the inner side of the glass. So we have to keep that in mind, because if you put it like that, for instance, I'm going to show you. So if we put it like this, we have the positive sign here, and then we have the negative sign here. So it will lead, but this one will not. So everything have to have the right connection, otherwise it will not work. So what we do is, we're going to grab the other end. So we're going, first of all, we're going to put some glue here. This is another thing that you're going to need, the seal all. It's a universal, so a little bit of glue will be enough to make it happen. Usually it takes like 15 minutes to dry out, so we're going to use this to keep it down, and we have to glue it here a little bit and lift it up, so that way it will work. So what I recommend you is to use always the same way. So if you're going to use the positive in the inner part, do the same thing in all the shelves, so that way you know what to expect in the next one, and you don't get confused, you don't have to think about it. So now we're going to take the measurement. So we have to do the same thing. So at least here it will be this part, so you can grab a scissor. If you cut it a little bit shorter, it doesn't matter, you can solder it later. So that is how it comes. If I see one that has been soldered, I can show you later, but you will see that even in this strip, sometimes you will see that it's showing by the soldering. So in this case, I'll show you here. We're going to put, like I mentioned before, the positive with the positive, so that way it will work. We're going to peel it off a little bit, and then we're going to put it here. There you go. And remember, we're going to use this clamp here to keep it firm, and then we're going to finish up peeling off the whole thing, and we're going to put it parallel to the line that we drew before. So we're going to the other end, if you're having some difficulties, what you can do is just put the glass against the table, so that way you're going to see the line better. You will have better contact. And we can put a little bit of plastic here, so we are going to leave it lift. Okay, we have the other corner connector. So as you can see, it says plus or positive and negative. I mean, you can do this or you can use it the other way. It doesn't matter. You have to follow whatever you want to do, but just always make sure that everything is positive with positive, negative with negative, and everything should work just fine. So now we're going to put it here. In this case, we have to lift it up a little bit. This is the first time I have a problem with this. So you have to go under. There we go. I just push it a little bit and it went under. So that is a good thing. And like I mentioned before, we have to use the glue, and you have to do the same thing in every shelf. So as you can see, good. There you go. Okay, now we have to do this line, and I'll show you. It's the same thing. It's very easy. So we're going to take the measurement first. We're going to leave it just kind of like this here. And then as you can see, I just said, okay, just in this spot, as you can see in that corner, I'm going to cut it like that. And that's it. So we're going to grab this, cut it here. There you go. Just make sure, like I mentioned before, I don't want to insist so much, but it's necessary so that way you avoid making mistakes. So we peel this off. Put it there inside, and then the easiest way is just to start pushing little by little until you reach the end, and that's it. So as you can see, we have to put something here, another clamp if you want to, or some book, something that it will hold it for 10 minutes, and we are almost there. So in this case, something that is very important that you have to keep in mind, so that way you avoid mistakes, like I mentioned before, is try to draw where you're going to have all the cables in one side. I'm going to show you why I'm saying this. For instance, as you can see, because you want all these connectors to be just in one side, you don't want one connector here and the other over there, and that's it. So that is why I drew this line here, this kind of circle on the corner, so that way I know that each one of them are going to be here. And the same thing here in this case, because here in the middle there is nothing. That is the way the customer wanted. So I'm going to put all these cables like that, and they're going to be coming down that way. Otherwise, what I said to the customer that he will do it later is putting like kind of a conduit or some cable management, so that way you can put all these cables like that and it will look better than having this. Because even if you put it like under this and you put it with the tape or glue or whatever, you have one, that is fine. But when you have the other one coming down and you have another one, you are going to have like 4 cables, you're going to, I mean, this is not that thick to hide everything, so that is why I mentioned before it's better to have some kind of conduit, run all the cables on down there. So now I'm going to show you how to connect everything in this side. So I'm going to start soldering. Okay, before I show you how to solder, this is the connectors that I'm using right now. So what I do is just cut one end and I will paint it all, so that way it will look something like this. So here I have a bunch that I just painted with the spray can, and that works great. I mean, it's good enough. I'll show you a little one. So I need to paint 6 more, and that's it. You have to keep in mind is grab some tape, so that way, like electric tape or whatever you want to use, or something like that, to protect the connectors, so that way paint will not get inside. So in this case it will be very easy. For instance, just a little bit like that, and that will be enough to protect the inside. The rest, it doesn't matter, because we're going to cut this later on. Okay, now we just paint one side. Now we're going to paint the other side, as you can see. So this process is very easy. Later on you can paint it a little bit more, so you can use this type of paint, and this is enough. That's it. We have to wait until it dries. Okay, I just finished putting the light in all this glass, so everything looks amazing. So I have a lot of light everywhere. So I just finished. As you can see, I have all the cables that I have to finish and organize it on the back. And just in case, this is the end result. As you can see, all the Star Wars and everything. So in this case, I have a dimmer, I guess, and you can regulate the intensity of the light. So yeah, in this case, it looks like very, very shiny, or I mean powerful the light. I have to regulate that. That's it. So I have the raceways, as you can see here. So I was thinking, in order to organize the cables, as you can see over here, so that way it will look nicer. Or we can use this type of organizers that you can put the cables inside, but this is too little. I have to buy something a little bit bigger, but at least, as you know, this is how it looks like. Okay, as you can see, that is how we cover up the cables with this kind of velcro that we have here. And this is the roll that we were cutting, putting over there, and that is how it looks. You see, looks pretty good. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm going to give you some advice in case if you have to talk with the customers. Like I mentioned before, always first commit, figure out it later. So in this case, I have knowledge about electronics and electricity, so that was not a problem, but I was sincere with the customer. I told him, look, I never have done anything like that before, but if you want, we can do a prototype. So I have done these kind of things many times with another customers, even with another kind of project. You can do the same. I mean, for yourself with a customer, you can be sincere. Say, I don't know, but I can try. So I like these kind of challenges because I can earn money and I can learn new things. So I hope this was useful for you. Please leave me a comment if you are going to try something like that with your customers, or if you have any other experience, and see you next class. Bye.